Welcome to Keeping Up with the Joneses. Yeah.
Hello.
We got some stuff to talk about, man.
And we probably should say it's Bree and Derek, but we're just gonna keep
it. This is my wife, Bree. If y'all don't know and you haven't been following the channel, and I forget that, this is Bree. I'm DJ Derek Smoking Jones, aka Smoking Ink, aka Runaway, aka
Don't do it.
Oh, okay.
Don't do it. It's all right.
Okay. All right. AKA Rum Shaker. Y'all remember me from the strip club.
Come on.
All right. But anyway, we're back, man, and we're talking today about, marriage and, why did you get married?
Tell a story.
Okay, well, this is one of the stories, but really this is involving why you got married. But this is an interesting story. A friend of ours had posted a story on Facebook that I guess a gentleman and his wife went to a bank, and I won't mention the bank, but they went to the bank, and he, I guess, allegedly overdrew the account, which him and his wife shared together. She was the primary person putting money into the account, I guess. Don't know. We don't know that for sure. But it was her account, and he, I guess, was a user or a signer on the account. Anyway, she was beefing back and forth, trying to get money back. The overdraft was $70 with the bank. The bank finally gave her the money. The husband made a comment, well, I don't understand what the big deal is and why you're causing such a scene. It's only $70, not $700, as the story was told. And she went in on him, and, hey, I got my kids to feed. I got to pay bills with this. And,
take him off.
And then she immediately told the teller, I guess, or the cashier, whatever, to take him off, remove him off the account, and then later drove off and left him standing in front of the bank. And I was reading a lot of the different comments and stuff, as to people, like, yeah, leave that loser, and yeah, why you with this dude? You should get a real man. All these kind of comments. And excuse me, because we just ate. She had some pizza and a pop, and I had some different stuff. Nice. Yeah. So anyway, because we do this around right after our dinner time or something like that. But anyway, moving forward, when you get married, and I'm a 2-time loser. I married my wife. She would be my third wife. I got married once when I was young. And I was immature and, didn't know. And that was one of the things I wanted to address in this was the reasons why some of us get married. And then the second one, I got married, just don't know why I did when all signs pointed to no, I shouldn't have. And then I found my ace, and I kind of fell in my father's footsteps where he kept telling me third time is going to be the charm. My wife, of course, has her own stories. And
I was married once before. And I'm one of those people, it never takes me long to realize my mistake and correct it. So I got married really quick. And I always admit, I've never been a person that I blame somebody else's for the choices that I made. So I got married really quick because it was going through that, oh my God, my biological, not my having kids biological, but just like, oh my goodness, I'm getting older and I'm never going to get married and all that. And I got married for a stupid reason and with somebody even worse than that, and immediately saw the error of my ways. 6 months out the door, done. So, and then the blessing for me is coming to a place in myself where I knew what I wanted. That was part of it. Who I was and who I wanted to be with the person I was with. And my husband fit all of that. I wanted a Bubba, and I got me a Bubba.
Yeah. Chop them trees, pick them berries, baby. Okay. No, anyway, moving forward. But no, I was, I'm upset with the generations and why people get married, man. And this is not just a black thing. This is a people thing. I'm noticing this with just people. People get married because, read a lot of different things. You know, young girls get married, you know, because they're afraid they're gonna lose the dude, or the dude marries the girl because he afraid that, hey, I ain't gonna probably get nobody better. I'm gonna you know, lock her down, get her pregnant, and nobody really takes the time to get to know each other. Nobody has worked out any goals or go ahead.
Yeah, and I hate to cut you off, but one of the things, it's not just about we put a lot of emphasis on what a person is supposed to bring to the table, what a person is supposed to provide you in order to be suitable to you, good enough to you. And we don't often enough, not so much think about, well, what you bring to the table, not so much that, but who you are. Most of the time, like I spoke on this once before, we have a tendency to say, I don't know why you with somebody just to say you with somebody, and y'all ain't never happy. And again, how happy are you with yourself? Mm-hmm. How many times do you wake up in the morning or go through a day and you're just not happy? Somebody else, another person is not going to change that.
Right on.
So with that being the case, you need to sit down, take however much time. And that's the other thing. Definitely, and I'm going to say it like that, don't make the mistake like I made. Don't make the mistake of, I need to do this right now because everybody else is doing it and I feel like I left out.
And they put that on women a lot.
They do. They do.
Like, girl, your biological clock ticking. What you gonna do?
Oh, not only that, I worked a job when I first started with my job, and it was a group of us who started together. And these women sat around and would say little stuff to me like, oh, you ain't married, so you don't know. Like I was less than because I didn't have a husband. And over time, women tend to internalize those feelings like, okay, well, what's wrong with me that I don't have one? But here's the thing. Part of what's wrong with you is you don't even know who you is. All the degrees, all the things that you accomplish in your life, that's not who you are. And it doesn't determine how whoever you are fits with another human being. And I don't think we take that kind of stuff into account. I'm just saying.
I mean, I remember coming up and I would listen to, you know, elders say, oh, you know, go, you know, when you get grown, you're going to get married, you're going to get a job, you're going to take care of family, you're going to get education, you're going to go to college, you know, all the normal stair-step things. And then I was watching relatives that were older than me that were getting married and getting engaged. And the first thing, oh, I'm going to college. I graduated college and I got my degree. I got my doctorate. I got my master's. I got my associates, whatever. And my husband has this, you know, the guy I'm interested in. I met him in school and blah, blah, blah. And then that seems like that was
qualifier.
The pedigree.
Right,
the pedigree of who you should marry. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, I'm marrying Lex because, you know, he's got this degree and I know he's going to get this big Fortune 500 job. And, you know, I'm marrying Paula because she's educated and I know she's going to have this and we're going to have this kind of income and this kind of family.
And our kids are going to be.
Right. Mm-hmm. And the kids are going to be this and everything was like, okay. And then as I followed them through their relationship, they hated each other. Yes. They were fighting. The kids didn't like each other. The kids became divided.
The kids didn't like them.
Yeah, they became divided between the mom and the dad, and none of their goals really met, you know.
And I have to say, one of the things that I have loved the absolute most about my relationship with my husband is our connection and our similar ideas and ideals. We both wanted, you know, the type of house we want, the type of living we want to do, the type of people we want to be around. Like I said, even in our spiritual beliefs, we were able to align. And that was not something like, it wasn't like it was a checklist that I created and said, he got to do this and this and this and this. And it wasn't like he did that. But the blessing for us is we connected in such a way on the things that were important. Because at the end of the day, he can slang that thing like nobody's business. And when y'all get out of the bed, what do you talk about?
And that's the fact.
You
and
know?
I know people like that, you know, that after the sex is like, what's left.
Right, exactly. And then you go your separate ways, and everything you do is built around that.
And then I've known women that stayed in relationships that men took care of them, and they weren't all so much physically abused as they were mentally abused. I would go visit, the couples, I won't mention the names, and I would listen to how the husband would speak to the wife, and she was a slave and very, subservient to the point where, hey, I'm paying everything in this house. You need to suck it up and like it, and stuff, and stuff of that nature. And then I've seen women be very controlling over men in the same sense, and I've watched women that have more successful jobs and have more things going on. And I don't know if it was knowingly or unknowingly that degraded their husbands, made them feel less than and made them feel like they just put a post up with the billionaire woman that said, I don't care. She said that her husband is still the head of her household, even though she is a billionaire. She said she respects her husband on the absolute level of their marriage, and that impressed me.
And one of the things that happened, I've been in that situation. I was in a relationship with somebody. I was younger. I was in a relationship with somebody where this person literally took care of me. They did everything. They bought my clothes. They bought my food. They kept money in my pocket. They bought my car. They did all of those things. And it's possible. And I pray that some young girl hears this. It's possible to be in relationships like that and you misconstrue somebody's caring for you and love. You turn that and not realize it's just control. Because what happened to me in that situation is that person controlled everything I did. And I didn't even realize it was an issue because I've always been a relationship person. And, if we hanging and it's cool. So it's go everywhere with you, do everything with you. But then when I noticed every time I wanted to go somewhere, you had to be there and you were going to wait for me. Or when at the time I would try to perform and stuff, you would always cause a fight before that because you didn't want me to have that attention. Recognize that just because somebody does stuff for you financially, and we tend to put a lot of emphasis on that in relationships, that financial is the it's not love anymore. Finance is the overarching everything in relationships. Everybody got to have the right money, and the money got to be the right way, and that's the relationship. And if the money start getting funny, oh my God, it's out. I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to understand, when it comes to a marriage, you're not just marrying or melding your finances. This is two people who want different things, who have different needs, who have different goals. And you have to figure out a way to align those things so that they fit for both of you. Not just for you, not just for whoever make the most money. Because you can meet somebody, think about these people who are rappers or all these people in the industry, and this person is on top of the game and they making all the bread and everything is great. And during that time, let's say the chick, she builds up some little side business just because she was your woman or whatever, and it takes off. Now, when he ain't got no money no more, so now what? He ain't no good to you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
See? And that has happened to people, and it's happened to well-known stars and actors and actresses.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think going back to the situation, I would have never, and I've been angry with my wife, and we've been angry with each other. We don't get it twisted. Yeah. We've gotten heated, but I would never disrespect or degrade her in that way, to, make that kind of scene in a public place and, and then just drive off and leave her or something like that. And I people need to learn how to fight, and in most marriages, when you get into a marriage that, you probably got into for the wrong reasons anyway, either because the sex was good, either because of the money and the security, or either because you're afraid of losing
your own insecurity.
Yeah, your own insecurities, or either because you think you might lose, your girl, or you might lose your guy, so I better hurry up and marry them before you figure out who you are and what you want. That's the first thing. You need to figure out who you are first.
Yep.
When they say two whole people get married, what that means is you 100% know who you are, and you know what you want and what you're after 100%,
Well, say 99 because it's always that thing of change. So,
yeah. And then the other person has the same. Now that's two whole people coming together to make a whole marriage. That's what that means, and then sometimes marriage is 60-40. It's not always, people talk, oh, marriage should be 50-50. There's no such animal is a 50-50 marriage. That's a lie from the pit of hell. That's not the truth.
No, that's just not how that works. It's gonna be days where he gonna be 80 and I'm gonna be 20. And it's gonna be days when I'm gonna be 60 and he gonna be 40. And it's gonna be days when I'm gonna be 98 and he's going to be 2. And you have to go back every single day and remember that you chose this person. It's always going to be somebody that you with that you're going to have some issues. I don't care who it is. I don't care what they say. I don't care how pretty it is. But you chose to go through whatever those issues are with this person. And you have to make that choice every single day.
Yeah.
And you have to, and I have to say this, you have to remember that, like in a fight, like we were talking about that situation with that couple. To me, her driving off, that was a finality kind of decision. Always remember that the things you say and the things you do, decide whether those are those final things. Because just because it's something you can come back from doesn't mean somebody else can come back from. So make sure those things that you do and you say, if it's that final thing, then recognize that that's a choice you made.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was just disrespectful. I'm not saying that the man was right in overdrafting the account, but then again, we don't know the backstory of that. What our friend overheard was the present story, the surface story, but we don't know his reasons why. According to the story, I think the wife got more inflamed because he asked, what was the big deal, and he seemed to be very nonchalant about the whole situation. And I'm just trying to put myself in his place. He was probably that way because he's like, we in public. He was probably trying to downplay the thing so she wouldn't be so, that way in public. And it might have got totally misunderstood. But it's amazing how fast people get on the attack of somebody not knowing the whole situation. We don't know why the account was overdraft. We don't know what he spent it on. It might have been an honest mistake. You know what I'm saying? And it just might have been a bad day for her. You know what I'm saying? But at some point, you got to realize that when you say that you love a person and you respect a person, that you have to always keep that in your head, because once you put something out there, it's hard to pull it back. It's very hard to pull it back. So, this is what I've learned in the past. And I'm going to tell you, I've been through a hell of a lot of scenarios, So I feel like I'm a little qualified to speak on it. So, been through the cheating thing, the lying thing, the taking out of the money account thing, the fabrication things, the wilding out story things. I mean, just everything, you know what I'm saying? So at some point, man, we have to ask ourselves, why, did I marry you? Why did I get with you? Or why do I want to marry you?
There it is. Ask
why do I want to marry you?
Before you get there.
And am I ready? Am I ready to commit?
That's
am I ready to commit on the level of one day I may have to, clean his or her butt?
Come on now.
One day, hey, if we're in the big house, can we still be together in the Maytag box? So it's a lot of couples out there that I've seen even on YouTube that were couples and they had great things going in their life, and they living in a tent on the street, but they ain't never broke up. And then the thing that brought a tear to my eye was, they had a couple, I don't know if they were, I think either in Los Angeles or New York. And the guy was asking them, he said, well, y'all together? And she said, yeah, this is my husband. And he's like, hey, and they spirits were up and they were living on the street. And he's like, okay. He says, so y'all are married? And she's like, yeah. She said, we've been together 43 years. And she said, and he's still the love of my life. And I was like, wow. You know.
But what makes that powerful is just what you said. I have a friend, my cousin's friend, and at one point in time, they were working in the finance industry, and he was working in construction industry, and they were doing phenomenal, and money is rolling, and everything is great. And then he got injured. So now the onus of the finances, of course, are on her. Well, then she gets laid off. They still together, they're doing great, and they rebuilt from that. Because you have to find a person. The one thing about marriage is your foundation. But you're going to build with that person, be it a family, a business, and homes, and all these other different things. And they went from having it great to losing it and to rebuilding. But they did that together because, again, that's one of the things I always thought about. And I told my husband that if something happens and I get sick and I can't, is this person going to be there? Will this person be there with me through that? We may have to change some things. We may have to talk about how some things are going to go. But are you really committing to everything that this could be? Not what it is. Because always remember what it is today. It's not going to look like that 5 years from now. Mm-hmm. It's not going to look like that 10 years from now. It's just not. Because people are not going to be this. You're not the same person you are at 20, that you are at 40, or that you are at 60.
That's the other thing in a marriage, too, that you got to look out for. And I was going to do a separate video on that, but we can talk about it, is people even, I hear this a lot, and you even hear it on, like, TV shows and stuff like that. Like when y'all watch the movies and the couple say, "You're not the person I married, 20 years ago." And then you sit there and go, "Really? Yeah, he's not. She's not."
Right.
People.
Idiot.
Yeah. Right. This idiots, right?
Right,
Right. Get a clue, like at some point.
And if they are, what's wrong with you and what's wrong with them?
Yeah. At some point, you got to ask yourself, be realistic. Life happens. When life happens, people change.
Yes.
The goals that my wife had when we got together are totally different now. Mine are different than when I got with her. So you're constantly evolving. And I think the problem that happens with people, they don't accept the evolution of each other.
Yes.
Or they get so preoccupied in their day to day that they miss that we've changed. And and then you hear the story, well, how are we getting divorced? Because we've grown apart. You've grown apart. So now, we are a spiritual person. So now we're talking about, a higher energy and a higher vibration and a lower vibration. That's what that means. High vibration, low vibration. And you have to communicate with each other. You have to recognize that, her goals, when my wife tells me things, I encourage her to do these things. I try and back her up on these things. Sometimes I'd be like,
yes, because my husband is awesome with that, because the person he is, I watched him evolve, and I'm like, man, I want some of that. Give me some of that good elevation right there, and an evolution right there. And as I've done that, I've said, oh, I want to be a monkey. I want to be a bird. I want to have an airplane. I want to have ducks. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to eat a book. I mean, I just, everything. And every time he's like, okay. Oh, okay. Well, then okay. And he supports me but that it was a part of my growth to get to a point. So he supports me. Be careful.
No, that's my trick knee.
It's not a trick.
No, it ain't
no trick. He supports me in my growth, however slow or fast or bizarre it gets. And with him, my husband is he's a visionary. He's one of those people. He is a jump off the cliff. So he was like, I want to start doing this. Okay. All right. And I'm sitting here like, how are we going to do that? And how is that going to happen? But it wasn't for me to determine how and why. It was me to say, okay, I believe you can do this, and I got you.
I typically put it together on the way down.
Yeah,
basically, I look down at the edge of the cliff, and I look at all the rocky and sharp surfaces, what I could hit, what I might hit on the way down, what I might have to deal with, and like, oh, I might break a leg there. Ooh, I might get cut on that rock. I might do that. But you know what? I look at the end game. And I said, the end game is worth more to me than the bumps and bruises that I'm about to go through to get here. That's just something that I'm going to know. So next time somebody come behind me and say, man, I'm about to jump off that cliff, I can say, hey, don't go this way, go that way, turn this way, move over that way. Because now I got the experience in it, and I can pass it on, you know. So as I'm jumping, you know, I know I'm going to get cut. I'm like, man, got the bandage, you know. Okay, broke my leg, got a splint.
But that's all part of marriage. That's all part of marriage. It's supporting that person in the vision you cannot even see.
Right.
You do not see it.
Key.
And that goes back to that
message.
You mean that goes back to that faith thing. Everybody always talks about this faith in whoever you believe in and whatever you believe in, but marriage is that exact same faith walk. You don't have any idea who I married this person on Tuesday. You don't have no idea who that person gonna be on the next Sunday. You have no idea, but you put faith in the fact that they're going to be somebody, not the same person. And that's one of the problems. Stop thinking they're going to be the same person. Just believe that they're going to be the person that you can still be with the following Sunday.
Yeah.
And it's still a faith walk. And you have to walk it. And you have to walk it like you believe it. Because it's not always going to be funny or pretty or good or any of that. And you have to figure out, it's a puzzle. You have to make the pieces fit. Now, don't get me wrong. And we are both a testament to that. When you do it wrong and you choose wrong, then recognize when it's time to leave. Because there are times. And
accept your part in it.
Yes. That blame.
I picked that person.
Yes.
I made that choice.
How about this? No matter.
I bought into that idiot.
No matter how horrible the person is, if you say it's not my fault at all, you a lie and the truth ain't in you. Because even if it's only 1% your fault and the 1% is it you chose them. Everybody got signs, whatever they are. Either they might be too great. But if you ignore them, whatever it is, if the person is horrible, that's still your fault because that was your choice. Not all the rest of it might be on them, but you have to work from that space. You can't control what another person is or does, but you can control you and your choices and your decisions. And you have to work from that space because that's what makes you a better person, makes you choose better the next time, and makes you also be a better choice for somebody else who's coming along. We were able to connect because we both recognized our choices. And when we came together, we saw the mistakes we made and were able to say, okay, this fits in that way. You have to think it through. And
you don't have to be in a rush.
No, why?
You know, if somebody starts to pressure you or rush you into a marriage, you go,
yeah.
You know, and it can be scary. It can be scary taking that step. And I encourage you, if you're not absolutely certain, then don't do it. You know, because little things will frighten you and scare you off that maybe you wouldn't have if you had to wait it out. And if they love you enough and trust you enough, they'll wait on you. If they don't, then you know what?
That wasn't the person.
That wasn't the person. Let them go. As much as it may hurt, let them go. You know, if it's meant to be, they're going to come back. You know?
If it's not meant to be, what did you won? It's a win-win situation because either you won because you got them or you won because they walked away. Yeah, you party at 7. I mean, for real.
But please learn to respect each other. I mean, you gotta have the respect. Learn how to, fight fair in a relationship. And your arguments and your disagreements and all that should not be for the public. It shouldn't be for your friends. It shouldn't be for your baby mama and grandmama and daddies and all them to get into and all that kind of stuff. Those are things that you have to work out. Unless you being in a physically abusive relationship, that's a whole different situation.
And in that situation, seek some help. You're not going to them to talk about your situation. You're going to them for help in your situation. You want somebody that's going to help you escape. Because trust and believe, if you're in that kind of situation, don't talk to your friends or cousin or auntie or grandmother who ain't going to do nothing but say, I told you. That's not helping you. You want to talk to
want me to send Junebug over there to tighten them up?
How about this? You want somebody who's going to offer you some genuine help if you're in a situation that you feel like you can't get out of. That's what you want. You don't want somebody that's just going to listen to you vent or ignore you. I actually know somebody who was in an abusive relationship. The husband did some horrible things, and the person went to their mother, and their mother was like, well, you need to go back home. Okay, that ain't the person you needed to go to. And I understand that might have been the person that you had. But if you're in that situation, I pray that whoever you need that can help you out will come along. But if that's not your situation, because that's a different topic altogether, you have to have that respect. Remember that you chose them. Remember why you chose them. Remember why they chose you. What it was about you that you brought to a relationship. Because there are times when men will be like, she is just not that person. And of course she's going to change. But women also recognize if the change is your change for the worse. Because we do that. You know, we'll get into this very selfish space too. And we'll let other people's opinions of what your relationship in your household is supposed to look like dictate what goes on in your marriage.
That's really bad.
Yeah, don't do that.
When mom and daddy start dictating what's going on, or girlfriends and all that, especially in 9 times out of 10, they in a bad relationship, they don't have a relationship. Your parents are still trying to control you like you still 5 and 6 years old, telling you, well, this is what you kids need to do. And I know a lot of daughters love their daddies and mamas, and they feel like, hey, I want to have that kind of marriage and that kind of thing. But you got to remember, you're not marrying that person. You're marrying another person with other backgrounds, other upbringing. And, you know, I hate to hear when people say, because that was another big thing that I had read, you know, that irritated me a lot. Well, a young lady had posted talking about, you know, if a man can't change for you, then he ain't worth it. You know, and I'm just like, what? I mean, and I said, no, I'm sorry, I got to disagree with you, because, you know, if you're getting with a man to make him and mold him into what you feel you want him to be, he's not being his own person. He's not being an individual, and he's going to be miserable, and it's going to dribble out into your marriage.
And he's not a man. And what I mean, I don't mean he's less than a man. This is not about his manhood. But if I meet this person and then I say, now I want to change it. Okay, he ain't a house. He's not a paint. You know, this not like a wall color. You say, this could be real pretty if it was like purple with some green streaks and, you know, put some dots. That's not this is a person. And if you feel like you have to change this person is not the person for you. Because if you change them, that's not that person. That's somebody whole else. So if you have an idea of who it is you want, then go find them and leave that person to somebody who thinks they are perfect just the way they are. I think my husband is perfect just the way he is. I wouldn't want him to be any other way.
Yeah, and if you guys got comments, we want to know your comments. Yeah. I mean, this is an active debate. I know it's people out there that feel like, no, I'm going to marry for money, and dude going to marry for the, you know, the big booty Belinda. And
what you do.
And there's going to be people out there, you know, that get married for all types of reasons that they feel justified on. And you know, I've met even black families, which is kind of unusual in African American families, where, you know, you have mothers, you know, telling their daughters, you know, you're going to marry this person because that Southern way, he's going to take care of us. Don't marry for love, you know, and then this dude marries in and he finds himself having to have to take care of the whole family. And I've seen this personally, because I dated a young lady like this, and I watched a mother destroy her whole family and kill her husband off of stress, because she was so controlling, and her daughter separated from her, and people stopped speaking to them. I mean, it was horrible. Please don't get caught up in that. If you biblical, do what the Bible says. Leave your parents and cling to your spouse, your husband and your wife. That is your duty. Your parents, you don't bring them into your... No, you don't do that. Theirs. No friends. This is yours. That's theirs.
And one thing I will say, I totally agree, and we need to get out of here, but I totally agree in the sense of Jada and Will Smith. I respect the fact that they determined what their marriage was going to look like for them. Not what Hollywood said, not what the public said, not what nobody else said. It's what it was going to look like for them. Be it good, be it bad, be it ugly. If they're happy in it, that's what matters. And that's the same thing with any of you. Make sure that your situation it looks like you want it to look. It's just like buying a house. It's just like buying a car. You're not going to buy one because everybody else says it's nice. And if you do, it's something wrong with you. You need to check yourself. That's your self-esteem. But other than that, make sure it looks like you want it to look.
Be on the same page.
Absolutely.
Work out your goals. Talk it out. Keep talking to each other throughout the marriage and exchanging ideas and goals. Please do that and grow. Yeah, and know that you're going to grow and you're going to have some spaces in between where you're going to be a little different. And you got to be able to accept those things and understand that that's just a part of your growth process.
And love those spaces in between, because we all need those moments of solitude for yourself. You need those moments to yourself where you can determine, okay, the voice that you're listening to and the voice that you want to hear when you speak. It's always very important to me that when I say something, the voice that comes out of my mouth is not one of my husband or my mother or my sister. It's my own voice. Mm-hmm. So those spaces in between are those spaces of solitude for you to continue to develop you. And those are the things that for a mate are surprising. I didn't know that about you. Or look at a new thing. It's kind of like growing a plant or a flower, and you see a new bud and you're like, wow, more things are coming, and it's going to be beautiful when it comes out.
All right, man. Thank you for tuning in and watching us. Please like and subscribe. Leave your comments and share this. Leave your comments. Tell us what you feel. If you say, hey, no, y'all on some BS.
And ask us a question or whatever it is. And tell us some things you want to know and you want to talk about, because that's what we do and that's what we're here for.
All right. So thanks for hanging with the Joneses. Yay. And we out.
All right. Peace.